baseman, le frappeur désigné. The designated hitter, number 7, le numéro 7, Justin Cormier. Le joueur d'arrêt-court, des shortstop, number 33, le numéro 33, Nick Saint-Pierre. The first baseman, le joueur de premier but, number 60, le numéro 16, Serge Vautour. Catcher, le reteneur, Jack Free. The left fielder, le joueur de champ gauche, number 23, le numéro 23, Nathan Van Punch. The right fielder, le joueur de champ droit, number 35, le numéro 45, Luc Beauchot. The center fielder, le joueur de champ centre, number 6, le numéro 6, Sean Barkley. The third baseman, le joueur de troisième but, pour le numéro 4, Alex Farley. The second baseman, le joueur de deuxième but, le numéro 12, Stephen Burke. The starting pitcher, le lanceur number 7, le numéro 7, Justin Cormier. And don't forget to pick up the Moncton Minutes Game Day program in the thing for your chance to win great prizes for the game sponsor, Canada Auto Parts. Au premier but, Mike Doucette, first base, Mike at third base, au troisième but, Steve Clark, and at full plate, Duke Obi. our national anthem by Steffi Van Putten. S'il vous plaît, vous levez pour l'hymne national interprété par Steffi Van Putten.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we zeally rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for
Accueillons maintenant nos Dixie Mets. Let's welcome your Moncton Dixie Mets. Leading off for the Islanders in the top half of the first inning, the center fielder,
And welcome in to our second Moncton Mets live game broadcast here on MST. It's again the Charlottetown Islanders that come to town to visit Moncton. And the last time these two teams played in the Moncton Mets home opener, it went 3 extra innings where the Islanders eventually took a 5-4 victory. Here's Cormier that starts on the mound and starts Kraft off with a strike. And the 0-1, and make that 0-2 as now Kraft is down in the hole 0-2. Coming in, Cormier delivers, and that's a strike 3 right away. Cormier starts off with a strikeout. And here's McLaren after a couple games played, has some RBIs to his name and a .400 batting average. And our first ball of the game is down low and right to McLaren. The 1-0 now goes down for 2-0. Now Cormier in a hole 3-0. And the last Islanders game was the last game here in Kiwanis Park. McLaren came up for a pinch hit at bat and delivered a single. There's one that'll go down the middle, making it 3-1. And this one spanked back up the middle, and that'll be another base hit for McLaren. Goes right through shortstop and second baseman St. Pierre and Martin. So now McLaren stands on first. Now it's Duncan Pickett's that moves his way into the left batter's box. First pitch from Cormier is wide left. The 1-0 with McLaren on first. That one's gonna get called for a strike. One to Pickett's. That one almost hitting him inside. Ends up caught by Green. And the 2-1. That one again outside, making it 3-1. The 3-1. Pickett's on the 3-hole, hit high. This one's going to go to left field, chasing onto it, and that one's going to drop a base hit. And Pickett's unable to advance anywhere past first. So now 2 runners on for the Islanders here in the top of the first inning. Now Myers will step in with 1-0 and 2 aboard. Myers in the last game with 2 total at-bats, got a single in one of them. Cormier starting him off with a strike for 0-1. Again from Cormier. That one, a little bit of a change-up, slides down to the zone for 0-2 the count now. Now Myers in a hole, 0-2, with 1 out and 2 aboard. This one gonna go in the dirt. Now we got some dirt flying everywhere onto the field. And what is definitely a windy Sunday here in Kiwanis Park. Again, another attempt at it, 1-2. This one a bit down low. Make the count now 2 balls and 2 strikes. Myers still at the dish. This one looked good, but just gone down low. So now a full count with 2 runners on and 1 out. Still Cormier. There's the pitch. That one will just bounce foul. And another full count pitch, again sent foul. Josh Myers staying alive in the count. Has fouled 2 off since it has been full. And one more attempt at a full count. This one slapped past Parley at third. May have a run in. Fumbled a bit by Van Putten. McLaren will stay put at first. So we now have bases loaded with 1 out for Logan McDougall.
Now batting for the Islanders, Islanders 12-2
After battling in a full count, a great at-bat from Myers. Going up sending it the opposite way. Now getting the bases juiced here in the first. This was a high and foul to start off the count. Logan McDougall coming in last year, exactly 200 batting average. Good bit of hits tacked on, 15 RBIs. And getting on base more than the average shows. This one's set high in the air. This one looks to be getting out of play. Vautour there having a look at it. The 0-2 coming to Logan McDougall. Has fouled 2 off so far. The delivery from Cormier smacked into right field. This one's going to drop right next to Luke Vautour. Everyone going to be safe advancing a base. That's now 4 singles in a row. coming from the Islanders, and they take an early 1-0 lead in the top of the first.
Now batting the third baseman, as well as
Green going to talk with Cormier, as now that man, McDougal, has gone the Islanders on the board with an RBI. Still bases loaded, 1 out. Now up is McInnes. Cormier gonna start him off with a strike looking. And the 0-1, this one smacked hard, but again, foul up against the fence. Now gonna make it 0-2. And Tyson McInnes in his last appearance against Moncton in their last game had 2 at-bats with nothing doing. Here's Parley going home to Green. They got him at home. So Duncan Piggott's unable to score. McInnes does find his way to first on a fielder's choice.
now batting the left fielder, as well as number 9, the middle down, John.
So a chopped ground ball that goes right to Parley. Makes no hesitation to go home. Now going to be 2 out. And still the bases loaded. And Johnny Arsenault going to get started off with a strike, 0-1. Pitch from Cormier, this one hit high. Working in on it, Parley, Cormier looking at it, but it's going to be Green that ends up making the catch. And that will end our first inning. Limited damage done from what could have happened. So after the top of the first, make it Islanders 1, and the Mets will have their first chance.
Fans of the Moncton Mets now have beer and other refreshments at all home games provided by Kegler. They can be found at the end of the third base grandstand across from Hubby's Canteen. Moncton Dixie Mets would like to thank the following sponsors for their support. Leading off in the bottom half of the first inning for your Dixie Mets, the designated hitter, le frappeur désigné, number 7, le numéro 7, Justin Cormier.
So Cormier leads off here for the Mets, shining right last year. Just getting on base a lot. Had a good bit of stolen bases to go along with it. And Stevenson starting on the mound for Charlottetown. Now the 0-1 to Cormier. Another one. This one hit high. This one's going to go right into the gap. Help from the wind. And it'll be caught there at center by Jack Kraft. And a loud crack of the bat from Cormier had sent it right to left center. And Kraft is able to chase it down as we now get our first out. Now 1 out now for St. Pierre. Another one that's going to just miss the zone. And the 1-1 from Stevenson on to St. Pierre. This one again just down low. This one sent right up the middle. Diving for it is McDougall, unable to get it. St. Pierre will move his way in to first base.
Now batting, the first baseman, as well the number 16, number Sal Voto.
And now Serge Vautour steps up for the Mets. And most remember what he did in his first at-bat of the season. Shows bunt there. And in his first at-bat of the season against the Islanders, sent one over the right field wall and start off his season with a 3-run bomb. This one from Stevenson's outside left. And the 1-1 to Vautour. Pitch misses. Now Vautour goes ahead in the count 2-1. Vautour waits, sends one high, deep, going out to left field, and working his way on it is Arsenault, and he'll make the catch. Now another big flyout for the Mets with 2 balls hit hard so far.
Now batting for your Dixie Mets, Obato Larasabel, the catcher, number 21, the middle Bedia, Jake Green.
And Jordan Stevenson so far this season, in his first game, pitched 2 and gave up a couple runs. This one going to be sent wide left. Now 2-0 to Green with 2 out, and St. Pierre on first. Jake Green, the 4-hole hitter, establishing himself as a dangerous left-handed hitter. We'll watch strike 1. So last year, almost a .330 batting average with 2 bombs included. Not too many RBIs, however, and there is strike 2, getting Green swinging again. They're looking to go over the fence. So 2-2 with 2 out. St. Pierre on first. Stevenson to Green, and there is strike 3 into the glove of McLaren.
In the bottom half of the first inning, your Dixie Mets scored no runs.
And that will end our first inning.
Charlottetown errors after
So the Islanders there won, and Mets still with no score.
Les Dixie Mets ont marqué aucun point sur un coup sûr, aucune erreur des Islanders. Après une manche complète de jeu, la marque est de 1-0 Islanders. Ladies and gentlemen, please check your program. If you have program number 43, please report to the game day office. Program number 43, you have one prize. Alors, vérifiez votre programme, mesdames et messieurs. Si vous avez le programme numéro 43, présentez-vous en avant. Vous avez gagné un prix. Encore une fois, le numéro du programme est le numéro 43. Now batting for the Islanders, au bateau pour les Islanders, le frappeur désigné, designated hitter, number 4, le numéro 4, Logan Gallant.
Logan Gallant now leads off for the Islanders. Cormier again gonna start his man off with a strike. Starting near the first couple of games, there's the ball. Has been hit by a pitch. Has got a hit and scored. Here's the 1-1, still no one out. That one had just gone above the zone. And there's Cormier last year. A lot of innings pitched. And fewer wins than you'd expect to go along with it. And there's the 3-1 to Gallant. That one fouled off. Now going to make it 3-2. So full count now to start off Gallant, the lead off in the top of the second. No one sent high. This one going to go above the stands. Gallant playing the DH today, did not have an appearance in the last game versus the Mets, and that one he's going to get rung up for strike 3. And clearly unimpressed with the call. He will get rung up for the first out, and that'll be Cormier's second strikeout, the first one that he sends down looking. That brings up Max Jardine playing shortstop today. Jardine going 1 for 4 in his last game. Again, against the Mets in the Mets home opener. The Islanders took a 5-4 victory, and it took 10 innings to do so. 2-0 to Jardine. This one chopped right at the mound. Cormier Green rushing to it. There's Cormier sending it to first, and he's gonna get Jardine by a step. That's going to be a 1-3 ground out.
Now batting the center fielder, as well as Sandra, number 29 in the middle.
So 2 up, 2 down to start the inning. There's just a little chopper, a swinging bunt, you could say. That almost works perfectly, but Jardine is out by a step. And now that brings up Jack Kraft once again. He's 0 for 1 with a K to his name. The first batter and the first strikeout for Cormier. And Cormier starting the majority of his at-bats with strikes. And most of them have not led to anything so far. The 0-1, that one's barely inside. Mets come off their last game with a 6-0 loss against the Alpines, bringing their record to 2-1. And Charlottetown currently 3-1. 2 of those, and their only loss coming against the Mets. This one lined right over the head of St. Pierre. And in moves in Kraft to first base, and he will get his first base hit of the contest. With a perfect hit right over the head of St. Pierre. Looks like he just catches this one off the end of the bat. But that has enough to get over Nick St. Pierre for a single. McLaren steps up with a single and a run. The only run so far this game. That one gonna go low into the zone in the middle. Cole McLaren going 1 for 1 last game against the Mets. There's a pickoff attempt to first. Not gonna fool Kraft. We'll try the 0-1 again. It's McLaren, one of few righty batters. That one's in the zone for strike 2. The 0-2 to McLaren almost gets hit. That'll go for the first ball in the count. Still waiting on first is the center fielder, Jack Kraft. An attempted steal, and what a hit and run performed by the Islanders here in this one. And they're gonna get him at third. Trying to extend the base hit was Jack Kraft. And he is going to be out at third off a base hit from McLaren.
In the top half of the second inning, the Islanders scored no run on 2 hits, no Dixie errors. After 1.5 innings of play, the score remains 1-0 Islanders.
So after the top of the second, Islanders still lead this one 1-0. That one going right through the hole of Vautour and Martin. So now we go to the bottom of the second. Due up for the Mets is Van Putten, Luke Vautour, and Barley. Stick around here. At the bottom of the second inning here on MSD.
Ladies and gentlemen, our volunteers are currently selling 50-50 tickets until the fifth inning. Get one ticket for $2, three for $5, or seven for $10. The 50-50 draw will take place before the Mets hit in the sixth inning. Now batting for your Dixie League Mets, the left fielder, the joueur de champ gauche, number 23, le numéro 23, Nathan Van Putten.
After that hit from Van Putten, his first at home, was slapped just over the head of Logan McDonald. Now brings up Luke Vautour here on the top of the second. First pitch swinging, and that'll end up and out of play for a foul ball. And Luke Vautour last year, also an incredible year up at the plate, getting close to 400 batting average with almost 50 hits. There's a swing and a miss from him. The 0-2 to Luke Vautour, that one too far inside. Myers watches Van Putten at first. Meanwhile, the pitch to the plate is a swinging strike three to Vautour. And that'll be Stevenson's second punch out of the day.
Now batting the center fielder, the joueur de champ centre, number 6, le numéro 6, Sean Barkley.
There's Bartley. That moves in the left-handed batter. Number 6 of the Mets. Starts off with a ball. It's 1-0. This one hit high in the air. Gonna stay in the infield. Wind pushing it back, getting closer and closer out of play. And it's dropped right at the dirt for the third base coach. The wind in the game may be a huge factor. That one had looked to be close to getting out of the infield and had found its way back in the infield. Now the 1-1 to Bartley. Another foul that goes right into the mesh. And Bartley in his last game against the Alpines got punched out twice and walked in a 6-0 game, and where the St. John Alpines got their first win at home. The 2-2 with one out and Van Punt at first. Bartley extends the bat out and giving chase on it and diving out in left field. His Arsenault will be unable to corral it. Here's Bartley going to try it again. Still a 2-2 count. And the pitch from Stevenson, and this time gonna get him reaching for strike three, his second strikeout in a row.
Now batting the third baseman for the troisième but, number 4, le numéro 4, Alex Parley.
Now Alex Parley comes up with 2 outs. Van Punt's still waiting up on first base. Parley on the 0-1. Again, another swing and a miss for strike 2. Islanders up 6-2 in favor of the hits in this game. Those hits for the Mets coming from Van Punt and St. Pierre. And there's ball 1 to Parley. And another pitch will get him swinging. That's 3 consecutive strikeouts swinging for Stevenson. And that is the end of our second inning. Islanders still up by a score of 1-0.
After 2 complete innings of play, the score is 1-0 Islanders. Dans la deuxième moitié de cette deuxième manche, les Dixie Mets ont marqué aucun point sur un coup sûr, aucune erreur des Islanders. Après 2 manches complètes de jeu, la marque est toujours de 1-0 Islanders. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, please check your program. Vérifiez votre programme. If you have program number 51, you have won a prize pack, compliments of Napa Auto Parts. Alors, si vous avez le programme numéro 51, vous avez gagné un prix commandité par Napa Auto Parts. Number 51, le numéro 51.
Now beginning up the top of the third, Pickett steps into the plate. There's a quick first pitch that ends up just left. So Pickett's in his first couple games has 2 hits and a run, still no RBIs. This one's cranked over to right field and will just stay fair. Now Pickett steams his way over to second. Gonna have a play or not as he walks in standing. And that will get the Islanders up with a base runner quickly here in this top of the third.
Now batting the first baseman as well as the review, number 20 in the middle man, Josh Myers.
Now Myers works his way in. There's the first pitch again that's sent wide left. The 1-0 to Myers, and he sends this one right over to Martin. A little bit of a bouncing ball, and gonna get him out at first. So a 4-3 ground out, but Pickett's does move up to third base.
The second baseman as well, the deuxième but, number 40, the numero 40, Logan McDougall.
Now, 1-out count resets. McDougall steps his way up. He has a single in the first inning, as many of his teammates did. First pitch is just outside the zone for a ball. The 1-0 is just sent high, now 2-0. Louis McDougall only up one time in the last game versus the Mets. Didn't end up getting on base. There's the 2-1. Pickett still waits at third. And this one sent high. This one will just get out of the infield, giving chase is Luke Vautour, and no one is going to find a way to grab it. As they now get up from center field. Luke Vautour, Serge Vautour, and Martin were all looking to track that one down. But again, the wind makes them unable to apprehend it. The 2-2 over to McDougall. The payoff, this one high, and it'll hit him. Now a hit by pitch will get McDougall on to first base.
Now batting the shortstop for the third baseman as well as the troisième but.
So a bit of a wild changeup. Now we'll bring up Tyson McInnes. Now he has runners on the corners with 1 out. That one lined straight to center and will miss Martin. So McInnes has now driven in the second run of the game. Now Pickett's will come in to score. So now Arsenault moves in. Runners on first and second. 2-0 Islanders. First pitch swing and it's high. will stay in the infield. Serge Vautour is on it, and he'll make his way in to catch it. Now to it with a little pop-up over to Vautour by Arsenault. Now it's Logan Gallant.
Number 4, le numéro 4, Logan Gallant.
Now 2-0 Islanders. Designated hitter Gallant moves away. Will it be another first pitch swing? And it will. This time going right to third. Going to touch his own bases. Parley. And that'll be 5 unassisted to end off the top of the third.
The Islanders scored 1 run on 2 hits. No hits lead Mets errors. After 2.5 innings of play, the score is now 2-0 Islanders. Dans la première moitié de cette troisième manche, les Islanders ont marqué 1 point sur 2 coups sûrs au funéraire des Dixie Mets. Après 2 manches et demie de jeu, la marque est de 2-0 Islanders. Check your program, folks. Vérifiez votre programme. If you have program number 66, you have won a prize pack. Si vous avez le numéro 66 à votre programme. Once again, number 66, le numéro 66. Now batting for the Dixie Mets. Au bâton pour les Mets de Dixie, the second baseman. Le joueur de deuxième but. Number 12, le numéro 12, Stephen Martin.
Now Martin leaves off the bottom of the third. There's a quick swinging strike one. So the 0-1, no one on base, make that 1-1. Stevenson with a ball to even up the count. This game's starting a bit differently than it did the first time. The Mets scored 4 runs in the first and never again, looking like a drag bunt attempt. That one ended up near the backstop. Martin with the 1-2. And this one is going to get him rung up. Just hanging on to the left side of the zone.
Now batting the designated hitter, le frappeur désigné, number 7, le numéro 7, Justin Cormier.
Now make it 4 consecutive strikeouts for Stevenson. His first 3 going down, swinging. And then Martin goes down looking. Cormier, who hit the ball hard his first at bat, but flew out to the center fielder, Jake Kraft. This one just outside. And Cormier in his last game, 0 for 2 with a walk in the 6-0 defeat to the Alpines. This one fouled back. Didn't get too much of that one. Now 1-2. Cormier, who stands in the left batter's box. There's one chopped. We'll go to the third baseman, McInnes, working in. It's caught by McDougal at first. There's the second out of the third inning.
Now batting the shortstop, number 33, the middle.
That went from McInnes over to Myers at first base. Now St. Pierre 1 for 1, smacked up to the shortstop. This one's barely caught. Throw on to first, and they got him. A beautiful play from Max Jardine at short. Able to scoop it up on his backhand and toss it with all his might over to Myers at first. And that'll get him. That's a 3-up, 3-down inning for the Mets. Stick around, top of the fourth. Coming up with the do-up of Jardine, Kraft, and McLaren for the Islanders.
Now batting for the Islanders, Islanders, le joueur d'Arico, the shortstop, number 3, le numéro 3, Max Jardine.
No, it's Max Jardine up into the plate, leading it off for the Islanders. Grounded out to Cormier. This last at bat with a swinging bunt, looking to do some damage here, starting off the fourth. And just as I was saying, the bunt this time, he tries to lay it down. This one far out of the zone. The 1-0, he debated going. Holds back last minute for now, 2-0. Jardine with the 2-0 from Cormier. This one just high, now high in the command. With the count, it's now 3-0. And this one's down low, going to be a walk for Jardine. He's going to jog his way on to first to start off the top of the fourth.
Now batting the center fielder, le joueur de champ centre, number 29, le numéro 29, Jack Kraft.
Kraft in with a man on first. There's the first strike of the inning from Cormier. Gets Kraft started out 0-1. Cormier with the delivery, a hefty swing from Kraft and gets none of it. Now Cormier high in command in the count, now 0-2. As now some wind will blast dust into the face of Green and Kraft. This one, he'll reach out. It'll go all the way to center. Working on it is Bartley, and he'll make the catch, chucking it back in. A fly out to center field for Kraft. Now gets the Islanders their first out of the inning, and will bring up McLaren. McLaren starting this game 2-2, 2 for 2, with 2 single base knocks. And one of them had been with a runner on first. Now the 1-0 to catcher Cole McLaren. Attempted steal. And right off the hop, Green turn and look to fire to first. And a fake out from Jardine. Now 2-0 on McLaren. Make it 3-0 as McLaren now dominates this count. As now more dirt will fly into the face of everyone. An extremely windy day here in Kiwanis Park. There's Cormier, his first strike of the at-bat, now 3-1. Still 2-0 Islanders in the top of the fourth, a low-scoring affair thus far. And that one also in there. Now Cormier has battled back into the count, making it 3-2. Full count from Cormier. This one slapped hard and foul. The McLaren able to stay alive. Another full count attempt from Cormier. Jardine waits on first. There's a pickoff attempt. And Jardine able to get back there in time. McLaren still up at bat. This one sent to third. There's Parley to Martin over to Serge Vautour, and they roll the double play. And what a way to end off. Top of the fourth, a beautifully constructed double play. 5-4-3. So still 2-0 heading to the bottom of the fourth inning.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for the Dixie Lee Tip Inning. Thanks to Dixie Lee Family Restaurant, 1180 Mountain Road, Moncton. Every Mets hitter will hit for a lucky fan. If your Mets batter gets a hit, you win with Dixie Lee Family Restaurant. A single wins a $10 gift certificate, a double $20, a triple $30, and a home run wins a $50 gift certificate. Now batting for the Dixie Lee Mets is the first baseman, their 12th premier but, number 16, the numero 16, Serge Vautour. Serge is batting for program number 37.
Now Serge Vautour steps up into the plate, 0 for 1 with a flyout to Arsenault in left field. And last season led the Mets with 10 home runs in total, 6 of them coming when it mattered in the playoffs, as they lost to these very same Islanders. And here's the 1-1. Or rather the 0-2 to Vautour. And there is strike 3. A 3-pitch straight to Vautour. And Stevenson continues his reign so far. Oh, it's Jake Green that steps up. He has 2 home runs last year following Vautour. First pitch is fouled back right up into the netting. Left-handed batter, catcher Jake Green stepping up there after he struck out his first attempt up at bat. That one's barely going to slide into the zone. Now 0-2 for Green, 1 out. And a foul tip that will just get by catcher McLaren to keep Green alive in the bat. Oh, 2 from Stevenson, and another strikeout. Has countless strikeouts this game. And it's 7 to be exact. So Van Putten will now move into the dish. Right-handed batter showing bunt. First pitch will go for a strike. Now 2 out in the bottom of the fourth for Van Putten. And the 0-1. And make that 0-2 as Van Putten looks at another one in the zone. And the pitch fouled off by Van Putten to keep him alive in the count. Stevenson to Van Putten on the 0-2. This one low, giving him now ball 1. Now more time called due to the dirt. And this one just going to be outside. Islanders thought the inning was over. Now 2-2 with 2 out, number 23, and that's strike 3, the third of this inning. So Stevenson strikes out the side in order. And we still stay 2-0 after 4 complete, 8 strikeouts so far from Jordan Stevenson on the mound.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to remind you that the next Dixie Lee Mets home game is this coming Wednesday. It's a makeup game versus the St. John Alpine, and game time is at 7:30 p.m. So this coming Wednesday, 7:30 versus the St. John Alpine. Le prochain match à domicile, mesdames et messieurs, est ce mercredi prochain à compter de 7h30 contre les Alpines de Saint-Jean. Now batting for the Islanders, au bâton pour les Islanders, the right fielder de joueur de Charleroi, number 36, du numéro 36, Duncan Pickett.
Oh, the right fielder, Duncan Pickett, steps up, 2 for 2, a single and a double, and a run. So far on his portfolio as we head to the top of the 5th. Cormier still on the mound here in this one. Only giving up 2 runs and very limited hits. This one smacked to first, right off of Vautour. Not going to have a chance as Pickett will stroll into first with his 3rd single of the game.
Now batting, the first baseman de joueur de premier but, number 20, le numéro 20, John Meyer.
Now Myers digs in with Pickett's on first. Pitch from Cormier. Thought that was just inside. He'll get the benefit of the doubt for the 1-0. Or the 0-1, excuse me. Myers going 2 for 1 in the last game. Or 1 for 2, excuse me. Against the Charlottetown Island, against the Moncton Mets. Some heavy winds striking. Cormier serves. This one will go up and high, now 2-1. Hits are now 8-2 in favor of Charlottetown. So Myers so far this game, 1 for 2 with a single and a ground out to second as he now fouls that off. Myers with a 2-2 count. No out, and Pickett's waits on first period. That's a ground ball that just ends up foul. Still now no outs for the PEI Islanders. This one ball 3 outside. And there's a hit and run attempt on full count that's fouled back. Now full count, still no outs. Pickett still remains at first. And Myers calls time, had some dirt flying to his eyes. And that one gonna go for ball 4. Now runners on first and second. Myers gets on base for the second time tonight.
Now batting the second baseman, there's will the duty of number 40, Logan McDougal.
Now McDougal presented with an opportunity to get some runs in. Opportunity. Runners on first and second. No out, shows bunt. This one hit too hard down at the third base line. And another bunting attempt. One and one. Pickett's on second. Miners on first. Another bunt attempt, and this one sent foul. McDougal didn't get too much of the bat on that. So the 1-2, this one sent to right field. Luke Vautour running in on it, and it'll drop right in front of him. And now a throw to second, couldn't get Myers, and Pickett's will run home. It's now a 3-0 lead in favor of the Islanders. Now McDougal on base for the third time. That's his second single of the game. He's also been hit by a pitch. And there's Vautour, had been giving chase and never had a chance at catching that one.
Now batting with the Islanders, the third baseman as well as
It's now Tyson McInnes that steps in. And we now have a new scoreboard. It's 3-0 in favor of the Islanders. Still no outs in the top of the fifth. First pitch down the middle for a strike. Cormier off the 1-0. Grounder just foul. Pardee close to getting on that one. And we have some activity in the Mets bullpen. Can't quite tell who it is from here. We do have a pitcher getting warmed up in the Moncton Mets bullpen. Oh, 0-2 to McInnes, and Gatwin rings him up. And now the first out of the inning comes to McInnes, striking out looking. There's some sort of light for the Mets as now Arsenault comes up. He's 0-2, has popped out to Green and has popped out to Serge Vautour so far. So the 1-0 to Arsenault, runners on first and second. That's a wild pitch, and that'll give a chance for the runners to advance. Now runners on second and third in a 2-0 count. Myers at third, McDougal at second. And there is the 3-0 to Arsenault. And that one up high. Make it now a walk for Arsenault as the bases will be juiced. Now bases loaded for Gallant, but they'll have a meeting at the mound. Looks like Cormier is going to stay in this game. Now Logan Gallant, he's 0 for 2 as well with a strikeout looking at a ground out to Parley that went unassisted. Now the base is all loaded for Gallant. Stepping in, first pitch is a foul. The 0-1 to Gallant. That one behind him. And runners will stay put. Cormier coming to home plate just in case. The Mets still with only 2 hits this game. Islanders with 9. That one a ground ball right to Parley. Gonna go home with it. There's one. They secure the out at home.
Now batting the shortstop there, 12 batting pool, number 3, ready number 5, Max Jardine.
So the bases will remain loaded, but a very important out for the Mets. As there's the first strike to Jardine. So Jardine 0 for 1, a ground out to Cormier, and then a walk in his next at bat, starting up the count 0-1. And now 0-2 as Jardine has now watched 2 strikes blow by. On the 0-2 would be a very clutch strikeout for Cormier to get out of the jam, and it's fouled back hard against the netting. Again, another attempt at the 0-2 sent high and will find its way out of play once again. So now the 0-2 once again over to Jardine. This one gonna go down for a ball. Again, another payoff pitch. This one just inside, almost hit him. Jardine battling back in the count. This one grounded, it's chopped, going towards first, and Vautour will step on it himself to end the inning. Make it a 3 unassisted, only 1 run given up to the Islanders. That inning now 3-0, headed to the bottom of the 5th here at MSD.
4.5 innings of play. The score is 3-0 Islanders. Dans la première moitié de cette cinquième manche, les Islanders ont marqué un point sur un coup sûr, une erreur des Mets d'Exilly. Après 4 manches et demie de jeu, la marque est de 3-0 Islanders.
Now leading off the inning is Luke Vautour. So far 0 for 1 with a strikeout swinging.
Au bâton pour les Mets d'Exilly. Number 26, le numéro 26, Justin Bro.
And pardon me, it's Justin Bro that steps in, pinch hitting for Luke Vautour. Bro starting off with a 1-1 count. Came up one time in the last game versus Charlottetown on the road in a 2-0 win, and was unable to get on base. And left-handed Justin Bro fouling one off into the backstop. So the Mets still only with 2 hits coming from St. Pierre and Van Putten in the first and third innings, as now Bro gets the count full in his first plate appearance of the day. And this one smacked over to left center, giving chase on it. Arsenault will be on that as they fly out over to left field for Bro.
Center fielder de joueur de champ centre, number 6, le numéro 6, Sean Barkley. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, please check your program. If you have program 61, you have what?
And now it's Barley that steps up for the Mets.
Napa Oliver, number 61.
After the first out, there's a ball up high. This one grounded over to the first base side, but will end up foul. So the Mets so far this game struggling to get runners on base, have had 2 hits and no other base runners other than that. It's Stevenson doing a superb job on the mound to suppress the offense of the Mets so far through 4 innings. There's Barley right up to the mound. And that one's snagged by Stevenson. Was an absolute heater. And Stevenson places his glove perfectly to snag it, and a light toss on the first. Gets Bartley out with a ground out to the pitcher.
The third baseman de joueur de troisième but, number 4, le numéro 4, Alex Parley.
Now Parley steps up with only 1 strikeout in this game. That came earlier in the second inning. That one smacked to center. Moving into it is Kraft. And he will track that one easily with some help from Pickets. And that'll be the third consecutive 3-up, 3-down inning for the Mets. With a fly out to left field, ground out to the pitcher, and a fly out over to Kraft to end off the 5th inning.
Now pitching for the Dixie League Mets, le lanceur pour les Mets Dixie League, number 24, le numéro 24, Kevin Obey. centre, the center fielder, number 29, le numéro 29, Jack Pratt.
So our first pitching change of the day has been made. Kevin Obey steps in relief to Cormier in the top of the sixth. And it's Kraft back up at bat. It's started out with the ball. Kraft got only one hit so far this game. It was a single back in the second inning. And then McLaren with a hit, and he got picked off trying to stretch over to third base. There's a foul ball. That'll go away far to the left. The 1-1 over to Kraft from Obey. That one's a ball that'll miss down low. Leadoff hitter Jack Kraft in the Islanders' last game. That was against the Mets. Went 2 for 3 with a double and a triple, getting 5 total bases and 2 extra base hits in the same game. And he'll move on here with a walk.
Now batting, the catcher, number 5, le numéro 5, Cole McLaren.
So Obey gives up the first at bat, a walk. Now Kraft on base. McLaren to the plate. Pitch from Obey, and he'll get the first strike of the at bat. Oh, 1 from Obey. And McLaren had wanted to send that ball probably onto Mountain Road and had just gotten a foul tip on it. Now the 0-2 to McLaren up ahead in the count. This one's grounded right in the hole. Martin had went to second to cover the man stealing, and this time Kraft will be successful in going to third. And McLaren has gotten himself on base with a single. So now runners on first and third, with still no one out in the inning for Pickett's. Now Duncan Pickett's up. No men out and runners on the corners for him. A good set to get an RBI in. This one goes straight to Vautour. He'll touch his bag for 1 out. And Kraft stayed at third. McLaren, however, did advance over to second base.
The first baseman, le joueur de premier but, number 20, le numéro 20, John Myers.
Now with 1 out in the top of the sixth. Josh Meyer steps his way in. He has a single, a ground out to second, and a walk. So far this game now has 2 runners in scoring position with only 1 out in the inning so far. Now at this point in the game, the Islanders are up in the hit count by a score of 10-2. There's another pitch from Obey that's inside. And Green will now step off his base and go have a chat at the pitcher's mound. And we have some activities out in the Islanders bullpen. And nothing happening in the Mets bullpen as of right now. And I believe they're going to give up the intentional walk to now have a force at any base. Now Logan McDougal steps up. Base is juiced. And a chance to get an RBI like he's done earlier this game. That one going to be a bit low. Now McDougal 1-0. And that one skips off the glove of Green. And Kraft now will finally have some time to come in to score. All out runners advance a base. Now 4-0 in favor of the Islanders. And not helping with a 2-0 count off a ball that skipped off the dirt and off the glove of Green. This one again low, so now 3-0 for McDougal. And there's the first strike of the at-bat from Obey. Now bringing it to 3-1. And a ground ball that skips over the head of Parley will now give McLaren free way to score. Now 5-0 in favor of the Islanders. Runners on first and third. For McInnes. McLaren in at home, a 5-0 game in favor of the Charlottetown Islanders. A bit of a swinging bunt. This one will go. Obey will fire it to first, and safe at first is McInnes. The throw just leads him off the bag. Now bases loaded again with 1 out. And it looks like they're going to count that as an error. And now in the place for Jonathan Arsenault is Simon Dubois, swinging at the first pitch. This one will go barely into the stands. Now Dubois in as an RBI on the season in their doubleheader against Chatham. Pitch from Obe that clips the zone. Now 0-2 on Dubois. Still with bases loaded. Now the pitch from Obe, and it's strike 3 against Dubois. Now finally getting it to 2 outs here in this one. And that is a clutch out for the Mets. And a confidence booster for Obe. And Gallant now will have another try. Still 0 for 2 with a fielder's choice, giving him 3 total plate appearances. So Gallant in the top of the 6th. Count will now go to 1-1. Pitch from Obe. That one's sent far from Gallant, but on it there is Bartley out at center for a fly out to center field to end off the top of the 6th. 2 runs and 3 men left on for the Islanders. Make your score 5-0 in favor of PEI after 5.5.
Ladies and gentlemen, please check your 50-50 ticket for this afternoon's prize of $233. Vérifiez votre billet moitié-moitié pour le prix cet après-midi de $233. Le numéro gagnant, the winning number, 0900. Again, 0900 for $233. Le numéro gagnant, 0900 pour $233. Now pitching for the Islanders. Le nouveau lanceur pour les Islanders, number 96, le numéro 96, Tanner McLean. Leading off in the bottom half of the 6th inning for your Dixie Mets, the second baseman, le deuxième but, number 12, le numéro 12, Stephen Martin.
So Tanner McLean comes into relief of Stevenson after pitching 5 quality innings. And it's now Stephen Martin that leads it off in the bottom of the 6th inning, as the Mets now need to crawl their way back into this baseball game, down 5-0 in the bottom of the 6th inning. This one sent a little low as the wind now kicks back up. One and one to Martin. That one just outside the zone, making it 2-1 in favor of the Mets second baseman. This one chopped over to the first base side. Will end up near the Islanders dugout. One and two. This one sent to left field. Might get down, but the wind carries it way foul.
This afternoon, winner of the 50-50, the gagnant du 50-50 de cet après-midi, Mike Friedel.
So Martin's still up with a 2-2 count. Mets still only with 2 base knocks in this game. And that one, Martin's going to be rung up for strike 3. And will now give McLean his first strikeout of the game. First strikeout in his first at-bat since entering the game.
Le frappeur désigné est designated hitter, number 7, le numéro 7, Justin Fournier.
Now Cormier makes his way into the batter's box for the 3rd time this game with a fly out to center and a ground out to third so far this afternoon. And now quickly in a hole, 0-2. Cormier, the starting pitcher in this game, pitched 5 innings. Gave up 3 runs. Has since been replaced with Kevin Obe. That one right to the mound for McLean. He'll throw that one on to first. Sending down Cormier on a ground out to the pitcher.
Now batting the shortstop, le joueur d'Alentour, number 33, le numéro 33, Nick Saint-Pierre.
Now St. Pierre steps in with 2 men out and no one on base. St. Pierre has the first hit in this game for the Mets and one of only 2 in this game. His other at-bat was a ground out to shortstop Max Jardine. As St. Pierre digs in for the 2-0. This one will be lifted foul along the left side. And 2-1 to Nick St. Pierre. Hit high, and the wind will carry that one far left and out of play. Mets offense has been struggling the past 3 games. Only scoring a total of 2 runs in the past 3 games. This one Line sharply to Jardine at short. He'll throw that on a first for McDougal, and this one gets by him. Now he's a chance for St. Pierre to go to second. Now St. Pierre on base for the second time this game, going to count as an error against Jardine. Now we'll bring up the dangerous Serge Vautour.
Number 16, le numéro 16, Serge Vautour.
So as St. Pierre sits at second, Vautour up, hits this one to left, curving, Arsenault on it, it's gonna drop, and now St. Pierre will score at home for the first Mets run of the game. And who else but Serge Vautour to get the Mets up and into the game. Here in this one, scoring St. Pierre from second.
Now batting the catcher, le receveur, number 21, le numéro 21, Jake Green.
Now Green in to the plate with Vautour on first. First pitch, this one's hit, this one's curving to left. Arsenault running on it, looks like he has a beat on it, and he'll catch it on the very first pitch to Green, and that will end the sixth inning quickly after the first Mets run of the game. And after six complete, make your score 5-1 in favor of the Charlottetown Islanders.
5-1 Islanders. Dans la deuxième moitié de cette sixième heure, les Mets de Dixie ont marqué un point sur un coup sûr, une erreur des Islanders. Après 6 matchs complets de jeu, la marque est de 5-1 Islanders. Alors, je vous rappelle encore une fois, mesdames et messieurs, que le prochain match à domicile est mercredi, le 4 juin, à compter de 7h30 contre les Alpines de Saint-Jean. Next home game, next Wednesday, June 4th. Game time is at 7:30 versus the St. John Alpines. Now batting for the Islanders, on va tomber les Islanders, le joueur d'Aricourt, the shortstop, number 3, le numéro 3, Max Jardine.
So Jardine will lead off the top of the seventh for the Islanders. No hits so far in this game, but he's gone to walk in the fourth inning. Now 1 ball and no strikes. Here for Jardine, Obey still on the mound for the Mets. This one chopped over to Martin. Waiting, will take his time, and then we'll throw it right on the money for Vautour.
center fielder de l'étoile de centre, number 29, le numéro 29, Jack Kraft.
So quickly, 1 out to start this inning. Kraft back up to bat, scored a run last inning, looks to repeat the same here and crank to center. And that one's going to get down with a first pitch base hit as Kraft will stroll his way in to first base. So a good decision by Kraft, just staying aggressive at the plate to get his first base hit of the game. And now bring up Cole McLaren, who has 3 hits and a double play so far in this game. Fresh 0-0 count, pitch from Obe. This one will just get in there for strike 1. Obe again on the delivery. 1 strike and no balls. This one's hammered to left. Looks like it'll just miss the Mets bullpen. And will foul for 0-2. Now the 0-2 to McLaren. To 3 are the hits in favor of the Islanders, and what a curveball to get him. That'll be a clutch second out for the Mets. And a good job from Obe, striking out the dangerous Cole McLaren, where he had looked to tack on another run for the Islanders. But instead, now it's the second out. And an attempt at stealing a base, and Kraft will get in there with ease as Green bobbled the ball just a tiny bit off the pitch to make it a 1-0 count. Kraft now stands at second in scoring position. Want to have another attempt at it. This one going to go down low. And now 2-0 is the count. And Josh Myers waits on deck. There's a foul ball that goes sharply into the backstop. Now the 2-1 to Pickett's. I'm going to just dip down below the zone. Now giving Pickett's a 3-1 count where he's heavy in favor. This one grounded sharply over to Vautour. Doesn't bobble it at all and will step over to first base. And another 3 unassisted against Pickett's to end off the top of the 7th. Now we'll head to the bottom of the 7th where the Mets will need to rally back by a score of 4 runs.
Now batting for the Dixie Mets is the left fielder as well as try to go. Number 23, the middle bench, Nathan Van Putnam.
So Van Putnam will now work his way back into the batter's box. Has one of the only three hits, excuse me, for the Mets. There's the first pitch right back to McLean. He'll step off, throw it to first, and there's the first out on the first pitch. So a quick first out.
Now batting for your Dixie Mets is number 17, Obato. In the middle, he said, Colin Betts.
Now Colin Betts will pinch hit for Bro, who is pinch hitting for Luke Vautour. As Betts is started off with a strike here in this count. Off the 0-1, another one from McLean, and he'll get him. Now 0-2, one out in the bottom of the seventh. Mets going to really need to rally if they want to find their way back in this game. That one's hit hard, foul by Betts. Next pitch from McLean is going to be another foul from Betts. That will just miss the Mets bullpen. Another try from McLean, that's just inside. Betts will stay alive in this one. Colin Betts on the road against the Islanders had 3 plate appearances and 2 of them strikeouts, did not find his way on base. But here he will as he sends it right through the gap of McInnes and Jardine as he'll stroll into first. So Colin Betts will finally get some life here in this game. Now Bartley comes on with a man on first. A strike that goes right down the middle. Betts now gets the 4th hit in the game for the Mets. And another one sent foul high by Sean Bartley. Bartley in the hole now, 0-2. And up will call time. Looking like more dirt was getting blown around. Now still 0-2. McLean to Bartley. Waiting the delivery, and another one sent high and over the backstop. Bartley still stays alive in the at-bat, 0-2. This one sent a bit low by McLean. Now the first ball on the count. This one grounded over to the second baseman. A race to the bag. And he'll get in there safe. What great speed from Bartley, who has to move his way quickly to first. But McDougal and Myers both kind of pinching for it, and he is safe there. Now runners on first and second with one out.
Number 4, the middle cat, Alex Parley.
Parley now steps into the box, hits one right. This one going deep, but will just carry him foul. If this was fair, it looked like Myers was going to get to it. But here it just goes foul. Now starting Parley off 0-1, a strikeout and a fly out to center field so far for Parley on the day. 1-1, one out, two runners on, and there's a strike looking to Parley. McLean again on the payoff, just sent foul by Parley. There's Martin at first, and in the distance, Betts at second. Here's the pitch from McLean, and we'll get Parley going down, looking, and a huge strikeout from Tanner McLean at the mound.
Now batting the second baseman, number 12, the middle Stephen Martin.
Now Martin comes up on what could be our last at-bat of the afternoon, with runners in scoring position. With a runner in scoring position, multiple runners on base. Martin has gone down looking 2 times in this game, has been his only 2 at-bats so far. McLean winds up. There's the first strike of the at-bat. Another effort from McLean. This one barely down low in the zone. Two and one over to Martin. That one chopped just behind him and foul. Now the Mets down to their last strike here in this one. 2-2 the count with 2 outs. And the pitch grounded right up to center. Will this one get through? It won't. And everyone's gonna be safe. So this game will stay alive for now with bases loaded. Now it's Cormier up to bat with the bases loaded and 2 outs in the game. As the Islanders will have a meeting up on the mound. Nothing happening in their bullpen. There's Martin in at first. And Cormier now steps up. Still 0 for 3 in this game. That one getting almost too far inside. The deal from McLean. This one chopped high and will just end up foul. Cormier now having to walk back to the mound. Martin will have to return over to first. And the umpires will now convene near the first base line. Looked to have clearly been foul, but now they will confirm it there. Now count 1-1 time called. And this one almost down the middle from McLean freezes Cormier up. Now 1-2, Mets down to their last strike once more. This one hit in the air by Cormier. This one may drop, but it's caught by Arsenault in left field. And that will end the game here in this one. And make your final score. Islanders 5 and Mets 1 with a flyout to Arsenault by Cormier.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for your.
And we'd like to remind you that our next home game here being streamed on MSD is this Wednesday. It's the Mets and the Alpines, a makeup game from earlier in the season, and we hope to see you then Wednesday, 7:30 start time, Mets and Alpines here on MST.